Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Erik Voss, and as we look ahead to the fifth Avengers movie, Avengers Doomsday, we gotta go back to the first Avengers movie, Avengers 2012, the movie that brought all of these Marvel heroes together before we see, well, at least three of them all fight it out in Avengers Doomsday. This movie from 2012 was not only one of the most commercially successful movies of all time, it provided a structural and creative blueprint that all big Marvel crossover movies coming after it would follow. And it's a movie that gave us stuff like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a show that we will also talk about on this podcast as we go further down the road. As Jessica Clemons and I revisit this pivotal film, we talk about why so much in this movie is so iconic and what parts of it are so iconic that they really have to come back in some form in Avengers Doomsday. We are now coming to the end of our March episodes of the Road to Doomsday, and starting in April, we're going to go back to just doing one a week every Saturday. And the next episode after this one will be our episode about The Amazing Spider-Man and The Amazing Spider-Man 2. But I hope you're ready for a higher form of war, because here we go, back to Avengers. So much of this movie is memorable and does get called back, but like at the time when it was being made, none of this was inevitable.
Joss Whedon really didn't make the blueprint for what has to come in the future.
It's such a brightly colored film that you do feel like you're reading a comic book splash page. This movie works beyond our wildest imaginations.
It was the movie. It was the movie.
Genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist. Words that describe Tony Stark in this movie, but somehow they left off the adjective of doomed, because we're talking 2012's Avengers, and there are going to be all kinds of callbacks Avengers Doomsday makes to this incredibly iconic and epic and very successful movie. It's The Road to Doomsday. Erik Voss back with Jessica Clemons talking Joss Whedon's 2012 Avengers. You ready, Jess?
Yes, good year. We didn't die.
Yeah, we didn't die in 2012.
We thought we made a full movie thinking we might. There was a lot of conspiracies that we might, but in 2012 we survived.
You're talking about the Mayan calendar?
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, when we were like, do you remember everyone was like 2012? There was a Facebook group that was like, we're gonna die. 2012, I was in it. But no, dude, the best thing that came was not our death, our final breaths was actually Avengers.
It's really fun revisiting this movie. It's just like insanely good. I you know, a lot of people, just because of the Joss Whedon of it all, like to ignore that this movie happened, but it's revisiting it. It's super funny. It's got great action, great intensity. This is kind of the blueprint that the Russo brothers would follow from hereafter. Yeah. And without this movie, you don't really have the MCU as big as it is.
Yeah, 100%. I think this was like, oh my gosh, team ups. They immediately were like, they love it. They were cooking. It was so perfect where they were also still very new, even after Thor had his movie, Iron Man had his movies. Even after these, they were like, this is still so new and early for them, and it was gonna create an empire for so long. This movie's great. And also the Joss Whedon of it all, you can see the Buffy dramatics with those acting takes. I said, yeah, he's directing this mother. Like, it was so good. It was so good. Mark Ruffalo, Scarlett Johansson and Mark Ruffalo together. I forgot how much I love that chemistry.
Yeah, everyone in this movie cooks with chemistry. Yeah. Just seeing like those two together, or when Natasha's talking to Clint in those scenes, when the three big boys are all roughing it up in the woods, the Shakespeare in the Park scene. It's just like every part of this movie works in ways that I think constantly surprised us as we were watching. Seeing Samuel L. Jackson and Tom Hiddleston just kind of talking shit to each other several points. This movie works beyond our wildest imaginations when we watch it.
I think the only negative from this movie was the killing of Coulson.
Yeah.
The most insane, because now I bet also at the time it probably was kind of crazy to hear that Coulson died, but now seeing how vast the MCU went, and you're like, wow, why'd you kill that guy off?
Yeah. And hey, you can't ask for better redemption than getting immediately resurrected in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and getting to spend 7 years on ABC. And again, I love to revisit the math that, like, if you look at everything that is now technically MCU canon, including all the Netflix Daredevil shows and the other shows from Netflix and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Charlie Cox and Clark Gregg might have the most screen time of every MCU character, more than Robert Downey Jr.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
So let's revisit this movie, and we're going to talk about how it's going to connect to Avengers Doomsday, because this might be the most revisited MCU movie from phase 1/2, more than Captain America the First Avenger or Iron Man or Thor the Dark World. 2012's Avengers is kind of the nexus point, and you better believe that Avengers Doomsday is going to be revisiting stuff from it. So let's walk through this movie. Directed by Joss Whedon, written by Joss Whedon, from a story by Whedon and Zach Penn. This was a Disney release. This was, I believe, the first Disney distributed Marvel Studios movie, even though it was the ball started rolling before the Disney acquisition happened. It was released on May 4th, 2012. Here's what happens in the movie. 2012's Avengers opens with an alien voice telling us the Tesseract has awakened. And moments later, Loki, Tom Hiddleston, is making a deal with the Chitauri, the Other, and some other unseen figure to join forces to destroy the Earth. Meanwhile, at a S.H.I.E.L.D. research facility, Project Pegasus, Nick Fury, Samuel L. Jackson, shows up because Dr. Erik Selvig, played by Stellan Skarsgård, returning from Thor, has sounded the alarm about unusual activity coming from the Tesseract, the jewel of Odin's treasure vault, as Red Skull told us in the 2011 Captain America movie. Now a portal opens from the Tesseract and Loki shows up. Our man Hiddleston's looking pale with some sunken eyes. He's definitely the villain of this movie, and he immediately thralls Hawkeye using his scepter. So Hawkeye, Jeremy Renner, returning from Thor, now has his eyes roll over black, and he's basically a minion of Loki, as is Erik Selvig, which has already been the case. There's some trading of words between Nick Fury and Loki about an ant has no quarrel with the boot. It's wonderful. He also corrupts another S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, Loki does. And there's a big fight where basically they're chasing them out of the Project Pegasus base, but Loki escapes with the Tesseract and the whole base basically implodes. But what an incredible opening scene already. This movie just starts off running and never stops.
Yeah.
So now Fury decides it's time to reactivate the abandoned Avengers initiative, and he pulls Natasha Romanoff, Scarlett Johansson, out of a mission mid-interrogation, sending her to track down Bruce Banner, who's now played by Mark Ruffalo, recast from Edward Norton. There's some great moments where the two of them are in this random shack, and then you find out in a fun reveal that the whole shack is surrounded by S.H.I.E.L.D. agents with their guns drawn. So now Fury goes to talk to Captain America, who's kind of replaying the post-credit scene of Captain America's origin movie. There's a lot of deleted scenes from this part of the movie where Cap would have just kind of sadly walked around New York, and this is where he would have met Ashley Johnson's waitress character, Ashley Johnson, yes, from Critical Role and from Growing Pains, and the voice of Ellie from The Last of Us, not just a voice, the physical performer in the game as well. She's going to have a much bigger role in this movie as a waitress that is kind of like the street level person reacting to the battle that Steve is kind of flirting with, and Stan Lee would have said, "Whoa, what, you got no balls? Ask for her number." He doesn't say that, but he does say, "Ask for her number." And he would have seen Steve sketching some more as well. But basically, Steve's like, I prefer to live in a world where it feels like the 1940s or whatever. He's just kind of living on the S.H.I.E.L.D. base, and he's like boxing, and he knocks over a bag. This is where we would have had a Mephisto reference, because the file that Nick Fury hands him, when you look closely at it, that you do see Mephisto's name on the paperwork in Infinity Gems, because Mephisto is part of the Jim Starlin Infinity Gauntlet storyline. So technically, Mephisto makes his debut in this scene in the movie. Meanwhile, Agent Phil Coulson, Clark Gregg, goes to meet Tony Stark and Pepper Potts at the top of the newly erected Stark Tower to recruit Tony, Robert Downey Jr., to join the Avengers. Tony drops an LMD reference, a life model decoy reference. He's also fusing together like some kind of power line that goes underneath the river to charge the city with renewable energy. But meanwhile, Loki heads to Germany with mind-controlled Hawkeye to get some iridium, which he needs to stabilize the portal that's going to be generated by the Tesseract long enough for Chitauri army to come through the wormhole. So Iron Man, Captain America, and Black Widow show up in Germany to overcome some interpersonal friction to capture Loki. Cap has this great speech about the last time I was in Germany and there's a guy above everyone else. He and I didn't agree. He's kind of stretching things to make the parallel work here to call Loki a freaking Nazi. But these Germans get some courage and stand up, and Loki does rip out a dude's eye, though, in the scene.
So... He's not great. I'll tell you that much.
While they're transporting him, they hear a rumble of thunder. And then Thor arrives, Chris Hemsworth, and he yoinks Loki away to settle some personal business. I love that you have Odin's ravens in the scene, keeping an eye on the scene as this Shakespeare in the Park stuff is happening. This is like one of my favorite scenes, seeing these three characters together. Iron Man gets pissed off and goes after him. And then you have Cap and Thor and Tony all kind of fighting each other in the woods.
I kept comparing it to the Civil War fight between Bucky and Captain America. Well, I mean, to be fair, it was 2v1. This is all three of them just kind of flimsying around and trying to fight Thor, who's just like overly angry. But I was like, it's just so fun to see them as babies here and then see them as enemies later. Yeah.
Oh, it's wonderful. And then Thor charges Mjolnir and overcharges Tony's armor, and we see how he's like corrected from the design flaws that were there during the Whiplash eras, and now it's like 475%, and he goes, how about that? And just blasts the hell out of Thor with his own lightning. Just so great. So Loki is brought to S.H.I.E.L.D's helicarrier, and just the reveal of this helicarrier masterful. I mean, great sequence after great sequence in this movie. I mean, seeing it rise up. I knew a helicarrier was going to be in this movie, but it just looks so great. Going from an aircraft carrier to something that levitates like this with this cloaking tech. It's all really, really fun. The hardware of this movie is really fun. It feels like a big movie. It was an expensive movie, and they made use of every penny in the budget. So Loki's placed in this prison capsule that was originally designed for the Hulk, because it's kind of reinforced and it could just like drop out of the sky if, things get bad. So on this helicarrier, really the interpersonal friction between all the members of the Avengers is front and center. And it's genuine, but it's also clear that Loki is kind of amplifying it, using the power of the Mind Stone that's in the scepter with the ultimate goal of just really raging out Banner to just throw a wrench into all of Fury's plans. This is where we get the billionaire playboy philanthropist line where everything great about you came out of a bottle, where Tony's really resentful that this is his father's icon, the hero that Howard Stark would never shut up about. Bruce has this great line of like, he did try to end it all and stuck a gun in his mouth and the other guy spit out the bullet. Just a lot of great writing for the characters here. Some fun lines where Thor just mentions like, he's my half brother. And they're like, he killed 18 people in the last few weeks. And he goes, he's adopted. This is where you have the Flying Monkeys reference, and Cap going, I understood that reference. Tony comes in, that guy's playing Galaga, thought you wouldn't notice, but we did. Like, every line is kind of iconic and quotable in this part of the movie. But either way, the friction does boil over. Hulk gets pissed out. Hulk rages out. And mind-controlled Hawkeye shows up with a bunch of mercenaries wreaking havoc on the ship itself. So it's now suddenly terrifying. This cool floating base is like now a death trap that's about to fall. Tony and Steve stop butting heads long enough to work together to repair a massive rotor. And it's great seeing them work together. And then Natasha narrowly avoids getting smashed by the Hulk. Loki traps Thor in the prison capsule and Thor falls to the earth. Hulk jumps off of the helicarrier, jumps onto a jet, and that guy tries to eject and he grabs the ejection seat. So incredible in this part of the movie.
It's so fun.
Yeah, everything's fun. So mind-controlled Hawkeye faces off with Natasha. She knocks him out and she frees him from Loki's mind control. Agent Coulson tries to take Loki on by himself with this experimental weapon that kind of looks like the Destroyer armor, the way it warms up. But then Loki stabs him from behind, killing him, then escapes. So this is kind of like the moment that's needed to rally the Avengers to give them something to avenge. Like, they're called the Avengers because they're avenging Coulson in this movie. So everybody figures out pretty quickly that Loki's headed to Stark Tower in New York. Nick Fury has his rallying speech where he basically takes Coulson's Captain America trading cards from his locker and smears it in Coulson's blood to throw that fresh dripping blood on the table.
The fact that Maria was like, those were in his locker, and he was like, I needed to give them something to fight for. I was like, okay, well, I guess.
Yeah, don't forget Maria in this movie. Colby Smulders making a name for herself in this movie.
Another agent that didn't need to die in a way that was so inexcusable.
Killing off Maria in Secret Invasion might be the worst thing Marvel has ever done. There's a lot of sins. That might be at the top of the list of worst things ever done.
That's top three. Top three. I mean, top three in regards of sinful deaths. Not top three as in like, oh no, not this character. Like, Maria Hill wasn't doing much. I recognize she was doing a lot of ground level stuff that I was not interested in too much because Secret Invasion was a bad show. But still, most unforgivable death. So pretty weird. And then to have her poor mom come.
Yeah, poor Maria Hill's mom. Mrs. Hill has to come in there and slap Fury.
Slap the shit out of Fury. Be like, my daughter. She loved you.
They should have gotten like the Marvel executives in there to let her slap them too.
I just don't understand why they killed her. It just makes no sense to kill her. Like it did not need to happen at all. No. They could have just made her disappear. Could have made her a Skrull.
Yeah, would have been better. I don't know, that much better. I think Rhodey being a Skrull might be number 2 on the sin list. That was pretty bad.
My God.
It's only redeemed from the fact that there was a deleted scene from the Falcon and the Winter Soldier that implied that it happened recently. But otherwise, you could read that scene and say, oh my God, it happened after Civil War, which means that the Rhodey from Infinity War and Endgame was a Skrull, and I just refuse to accept that.
No.
I won't accept that. Okay, so at this point in the movie, it's already a big enough movie. This is already bigger than any other Marvel movie we've seen at this point. The crazy Act 2 shit that has happened. But now we're headed to Stark Tower in New York. And I gotta say, the first time I watched this movie, I'm like, oh, okay, things gotta be wrapping up pretty soon. Like, I really thought...
No, yeah, after it has so many different, like, I don't know when the acts were acts at one point, because even them fighting in the helicarrier with Hulk was so much. When he falls down into that building, destroys it, the man finds him, I was like, are we at the end?
Yeah,
yet here?
I mean, it's crazy now to look back on the number of times I've seen this movie. It's still fun.
It's entertaining. Yeah, and I've watched it so many times. But I think that's the part about our job in researching. There's like 20 different scenes that are research material for other things that have come into the MCU. Yeah. So when we go visit it, we're not watching the full thing. We're taking the 5 out of 40 things that were very important. And the fact that there's over 100 things that were important is enough to be like, this was like a 5-hour movie. Yeah. It feels like a 5-hour movie, but it doesn't. The amount of stuff you're getting feels 5 hours. The time you're sitting there is like 2.5.
Today's episode of The Road to Doomsday was sponsored in part by Wayfair. If you're rewatching all these Marvel movies with us, you know how important it is to have the right couch for your living room, the perfect end table to rest your drink on, and a coffee table that can double as an ottoman in a pinch. Whether you need furniture, decor, bedding, rugs, or anything else that makes your home feel like your home, Wayfair's massive selection means you can find something that fits your style and budget without compromise. The new Rockstars staff have been using Wayfair to get their living spaces set up for years. Producer Berg furnished his daughter's entire room with Wayfair finds, including a nightstand, lamp, wall shelf, and throw pillows. Likewise, producer Zach was recently setting up his home office and found a fantastic standing desk, area rug, and wall art to pull everything together. We've also used Wayfair at the new Rockstars office to get shelving and desks so we can make the most of our space. Find furniture, decor, and essentials that fit your unique style and budget. Head to wayfair.com right now to shop all things home. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair, every style, every home. Yeah, and there's even the deleted scenes from there are so many deleted scenes from this movie with everything with Ashley Johnson. Even the deleted scenes in this movie feel bigger than like the scenes that were left in the movies from other Marvel movies. And one of them is like when Hulk crash lands in that warehouse and Harry Dean Stanton from Alien and a number of other movies as a warehouse guardsman comes up and talks to him. He goes, "Oh my God, are you an alien?" Which is so funny because he's from Alien. But there's a deleted scene that's part of that where he's the one who hooks him up with the little moped that he rolls up in. And they're outside and they're continuing to talk. That funny. Scene is just as good as everything else and they just didn't have time for it.
That's a very Joss Whedon approach of being like, everything has to be justified. If I'm going to show it on screen, I want you to see how it got there. Yeah. He did a lot of that in Firefly, but that's so funny. That scene could be deleted, I guess, but it's funny. I didn't even think about it.
It makes it more of a sight gag when Banner shows up in the middle of the fight. Yeah,
that's so fun. That makes it funnier. I wish I would have saw it because it would have been funny.
Because just like I guess he stole someone's.
That's what I assumed. I just thought, everyone needs something really quick. He just grabbed it. But now knowing that man can't even do it.
Yeah. So now we're in New York, and then we get Loki and Tony facing off in the penthouse, which is really all a delay tactic by Tony. He smartly keeps his hands behind himself so that like Loki wouldn't clock that his arms were bare in one part and then had the Mark 7 bracelet added later. This whole penthouse is where Val and Thunderbolts will pour a drink later on when she takes over the tower. And I really think the conversation that happens between Tom Hiddleston and Robert Downey Jr., specifically the words that are used, are going to get echoed in Avengers Doomsday. Specifically, like, we have a Hulk. You know, everything that's said here, I think we're going to need to like keep a transcript of exactly the exchange because I do think it's going to come back. But then Loki can't turn him because the scepter just clinks on his chest arc reactor, throws him out of the penthouse. As he falls, one of the biggest moments, the Mark 7 armor connects with his bracelet, forms around him. He reverses his free fall, probably scorches the hair off of those people on the sidewalk as he 180s the direction and then floats back up. So great to see the new armor that he's had ready to go after seeing how cool the armor was leading up to this point. Right here, the Tesseract opens up a massive portal over Stark Tower, and so begins the Battle of New York. And Berg, while doing the research here, checked the time codes. The Battle of New York arguably begins when Loki tosses Tony out the window, and that's at 1 hour, 41 minutes, 41 seconds. The battle ends when Hulk catches Tony when he's falling back through the portal and then shouts him awake. That's at 2 hours, 8 minutes, 31 seconds. That is a 27-minute long action sequence, roughly 20% of the runtime of the movie minus credits.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And that, I think that tells you how we were like, the movie's so long. Like, you don't remember it, but every person gets a scene in the battle. Yeah. Every single person gets a scene in the battle. Not just like a quick, like, one shot. It's like, no, they get to talk, they almost fail, they get to come back up. Like, everybody, and then we get the pose. But like, everybody gets a scene.
Yeah.
And that battle's amazing.
20%. I mean, this would be the blueprint that the Russo brothers would follow, specifically with Infinity War and Endgame.
Endgame for sure.
Joss Whedon tried to do it in Age of Ultron, not as successfully in Age of Ultron, but at least in terms of the scale, you could see him trying to do that again. But Infinity War and Endgame, huge. Like the second halves of those movies are just like battles.
I think all Avengers movies, that's what people want.
Yeah.
Except for, Captain America, the first Avenger. But all Avengers movies have to end with a 20-minute battle. And again, in Infinity War, goddamn, it was just a sad battle. It was a sad, slow battle where I always fast forward now.
It's a war of attrition where one by one people fall like dominoes.
Oh my God.
But some highlights from this battle. It's just so fun seeing everyone work together and kind of figuring it out in real time. This battle does feel like it's happening in real time. You're living in this battle. It's a proper battle. We see Bruce Banner saying, "That's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry," followed by him hulking out and punching down at Chitauri Leviathan. I mean, this might be the best Hulk out sequence we've ever seen in any Marvel movie, and it happened right here in this battle.
Is this the scene that they had to mimic again in Endgame where he was like, "You have to go be a Hulk again," and he went, and he was like pushing the things over slowly.
Yeah, it's not as effective. Just the circle up shot of all the characters back to back is so epic, and it's he shot it in this higher aspect ratio so that we had this height of all the characters, so that you could have Hulk in the same shot where you have Natasha. There's a moment where Cap launches Natasha off of his shield, springboards her into a Chitauri flyer. And her going ham on the Chitauri fleet. Tony flying into the Leviathan's open mouth and saying he's like Jonah in the whale, blowing it up from the inside. Jarvis. Paul Bettany's voice is here with us for all this. Oh, so good. Hawkeye gets a lot of heroic moments here. He fires the arrow at Loki and Loki catches it. And then it explodes. So great. So nice. And it all kind of comes together in this long tracking shot with all the characters having different moments. There's a moment where Cap has his shield and angles it so Tony can divert or angle the beam off of it. Like, there's just so much good collaboration where you see that these six people really need each other. And that long tracking shot ends with Hulk and Thor landing in Grand Central where Hulk punches Thor out of frame. Just like a perfect punchline to end that sequence. And throughout all this, Fury's getting his. He launches a bazooka at a fighter jet from the deck of the helicarrier to keep them from nuking New York City. And then, of course, there's the iconic moment of Hulk getting to Loki in the penthouse, smashing him around, calling him a puny god. I think that was the biggest applause we got from the movie, if I remember watching this.
I love that smashing.
Yeah.
Like a gorilla with a frog.
A gorilla with a frog. Gorilla with a frog. Hey. This sequence is just all so good, and it's just an incredible sequence combined with a dozen smaller little moments of the Avengers working together as a team. It's arguably what illustrated the potential of the shared cinematic universe, and it's the high that every Marvel movie after would try to recapture. The battle ends with Tony Stark grabbing hold of the nuke, flying it up through the space portal, hitting Thanos' entire fleet with it, and then falling back through the portal and landing safely, where Hulk has to just to kind of wake him up. It's so great. So Loki gets arrested. He's brought back to Asgard with Thor. The Avengers go their separate ways, and Nick Fury says that they'll return when they have to. And now, instead of Stark Tower, all the other letters have fallen off, except for A, making this officially Avengers Tower. There's a mid-credit scene that introduces us to Thanos for the first time. In this movie, he's played by stunt actor Damien Poitier. Just for this shot, this is before Josh Brolin was cast, he gives a sideways grin from his throne in the cosmos after being told that by the other that the challenge to humans is to court death. And then there's the epic, iconic post-credit scene that has all the Avengers exhausted eating shawarma in what is perhaps the most accurate depiction of the end of a very long day in New York ever set to film. Now, the events of the Battle of New York in 2012 were so influential to all MCU historical events that followed. The Avengers would, of course, revisit this point in time during the time heist in Avengers Endgame. This is when we learned that the Mind Stone scepter ended up in the hands of Hydra operatives who were working within S.H.I.E.L.D. at this time, including Agent Sitwell and Brock Rumlow. Loki's escape during the Avengers Endgame time heist would kick off the Loki spinoff series that brought Loki to where he is now in Avengers Doomsday. The reconstruction effort after the battle provided the backdrop for the first season of Daredevil on Netflix and was referenced by many of the characters in the Netflix shows. This battle was also the origin point for Kate Bishop and Hawkeye, and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. would continue forth after these events to reveal that Phil Coulson actually survived via Project Tahiti and Kree transfusion technology. All right, Jess, what were your feelings revisiting this movie?
It's a great movie. It's always been a great movie. I Is it revisiting it when I have to go back and watch separate sections of it all the time? Probably not.
No.
But no, it's a great movie. It was the movie. It was the movie.
Yeah, it really was. And I feel the same way. In the same way that like Captain America the First Avenger has been such a big part of our jobs, just talking about the MCU here at New Rockstars, like this movie is just kind of like, if you asked me to just kind of, if you gave me 5 minutes to just recap the plot of this movie, I could probably do it. Like I was reading off of a prompter here, but I could probably just do it.
Oh, yeah.
I know this movie kind of backwards and forwards.
There was only parts where I was like, genuinely, I know every scene that happens, but it was parts where I was like, oh yeah, I forget that we start with Scarlet Witch. We start with Scarlett Johansson. Yeah. And I was like, oh yeah, I forget that we go here at this point. And we go here at this point. And this is over here. And this is over there. I was like, there was just those mix-ups a little bit. But I was like, no, I know every part of this movie. And now that I know, and like you mentioned, so much stems from the Battle of New York that we're forced to go, like it's connected to Loki. It's connected to Thor. It's even the fight between Thor and Hulk for a moment is always going to be like echoed in Thor Ragnarok, and then how Loki feels about Thor or about Hulk, seeing him in Thor Ragnarok was like, oh, that's the man that smashed me a million times. So like everything comes back to this movie for so many characters in the MCU now that it's like, yeah, we always come back.
Yeah, and you know, so much of this movie is memorable and does get called back, but like at the time when it was being made, none of this was inevitable.
No, I think it was because it was just so successful and so great that they always go back to. Again, Joss Whedon unfortunately did do the blueprint of like, hey, anytime you guys have these team up movies, make sure that's 20 minutes of the screen time. Like, yeah. It has to be, the Avengers movies have to have a battle because that's what we're there for. I will say the Captain America, the First Avenger, it does have big battles, but it doesn't feel as necessary as I need in an Avengers movie because that's when you're teaming up all these different people and I'm like, oh, I need to see them all fight together. I want to see how they work fluidly. And so, yeah, it's like Joss Whedon really didn't make the blueprint for what has to come in the future.
Really, I think a movie that deserves credit for the blueprint that Joss Whedon might have followed for this movie is what Peter Jackson did in Two Towers. Because I think the Battle of Helm's Deep has a lot of similar parallels to the Battle of New York. Specifically, if you look at other big like ensemble action movies that are big franchise films, even including the Battle of Hogwarts, which before this movie, in the final Harry Potter film, the Battle of Hogwarts was what the Battle of New York was. What the Battle of Hogwarts doesn't do as well to make that battle, like I will argue, when you read the Battle of Hogwarts in the 7th Harry Potter book, it is huge. It is epic. When you watch it in that final Harry Potter film, for whatever reason, it's not as memorable, and it's because of this. What Battle of New York does, what the Battle of Helm's Deep does, is it doesn't have singular character moments by themselves. It has moments with 2 and 3 characters together at a time. It's you have a lot of shots where Thor and Hulk are teamed up, shots where Cap and Natasha are teamed up. Even the shot of Hawkeye is really the only one who's by himself for a lot of it. Loki's by himself for a lot of it.
But I still connect him to Natasha's parts anyways.
Yeah. So like it really does feel like an ensemble when these people are together. In the same way that Helm's Deep, you have Aragorn and Gimli together where he goes, toss me. And then they're counting. Gimli and Legolas are counting the whole time. And there's this kind of fun one-upsmanship that's happening throughout the battle in the same way that it does in the Battle of New York. Because the Battle of Hogwarts had to be so epic, you just have a lot of moments where like, yes, Ron and Hermione couple off at one point when they go to the Chamber of Secrets. But really, probably the most visually epic thing that happens is Longbottom grabs the sword of Godric Gryffindor and decapitates the snake Nagini. But that's something that kind of happens by itself. Like, yes, the snake is going after Ron and Hermione, but it's like, it just doesn't have these kind of epic moments. The build up to the battle certainly does. You have little moments where like McGonagall goes, I've always wanted to use that spell.
I like when Ron's mom's like, get your hands off my son, you bitch.
Yeah, which is a moment that got a big cheer, but the moment feels weird because like, we don't know what kind of killing spell she uses. I don't know. It's, Harry Potter's on the brain, obviously, because we have this Harry Potter promo. It's coming back to HBO. So, but like before the MCU was as big as it was, the Harry Potter movies were the big 100%. Fan IP movies.
And I also think that, well, that's also a different part was like Harry Potter fits into every universe where it was very, is the word unisex for this? It was just like anyone could get into Harry Potter. I feel like if Marvel, they knew that it was like a boy franchise until, because they had to really make Natasha Romanoff be for the girls. Like it had to be like, oh, she was the only one. She was the only, her and Maria Hill. But I feel like it's a lot harder for Marvel to have to be like, to do some of these little hurdles that Star Wars, that Harry Potter had an easier time doing. Not saying it's easier to be Harry Potter. I'm sure that world is hard.
Well, also the Battle of Hogwarts, kind of what makes it so epic when you're reading the book is a lot of characters die.
Yeah.
And in the movie, they don't show all those deaths. And in the book, they don't show all the deaths either, but you find out in one moment where there's like a kind of a quiet part of the battle, the Eye of the Storm, and you just take the death toll and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That, God, Remus and... Oh, God. It's just like, I'm even revisiting fucking Colin is dead. Like, everybody's dead at one point. And that doesn't happen in this battle. No major character dies. It's just meant to be the opening salvo to a universe. And then the deaths won't kick in until like...
Till later.
And even Infinity War and Endgame, it's just like people dust, but they don't die. Vision dies.
3 times.
Gamora dies. Or earlier in the movie.
Natasha dies.
And in Endgame, Tony is the only one that really dies.
Yeah.
But that makes his death all the more impactful because he's only major hero.
No.
Sorry. So anyway, I just think it's fun to historically compare it to like at that point in May of 2012, all we really had to compare it to, a big IP movie with a huge battle in it, was the Battle of Hogwarts. And this sequence did top it. I think just as a visual spectacle standpoint, I still think the Battle of Hogwarts is a pretty powerful achievement that they made at Warner Brothers, just not like this. And just, I think a lot of it's just the humor. Like Joss Whedon knows how to direct action in a way that makes it feel like it's such a brightly colored film that you do feel like you're reading a comic book splash page when you're watching this movie. I think the humor of it really does cook. And I think it works in this movie. It doesn't work in every Avengers movie or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode that tries to recreate that humor after this. I'll say that.
Yeah. I think also comedy has changed so much.
Yeah.
Because anytime Deadpool does it, it's funny.
I guess. Yeah.
I was like, watch that next Avengers movie with Deadpool making the pee-pee-poo-poo jokes.
Yeah. Today's episode of The Road to Doomsday is sponsored by Function. I've been thinking a lot about sleep lately. I've spent years trying to dial in my nighttime routine, my bed, my pillow, all my sheets, all that, just so that I can get the most restful sleep possible. But here's the tricky thing. You can't fully understand your sleep without looking at your lab tests. If your sleep is off, your results will likely show it with elevated inflammation and shifts in glucose and cortisol. And when sleep improves, that shows up too. That's what I appreciate about Function. It gives you real data so you know what's happening inside your body. Sleep isn't just a habit, it's biology. If you want a deeper look, whether you're improving or troubleshooting, you have to measure it. Own your health and start by understanding what's happening beneath the surface. Function gives you access to over 160 lab tests each year, including advanced markers for heart health, inflammation, stress, hormones, toxins, and more for $365 a year. Visit www.functionhealth.com/rumor or use gift code rumor25 for a $25 credit toward your membership. We'll talk about some possible Doomsday setups. Let's quickly touch on how this movie was made and how this insane thing all came together. So after Marvel Studios got their massive loan from Merrill Lynch in 2005, Avi Arad announced his intention to produce an Avengers film in a presentation to Wall Street analysts. The idea, as we now all know, was to produce a slate of movies focused on individual characters leading up to a crossover movie. After Iron Man's massive success in 2008, Marvel set a 2011 release date for Avengers. So casting for the Avengers started to crystallize in 2009. Scarlett Johansson signed on to replace Emily Blunt as Natasha Romanoff. Samuel L. Jackson signed a 9-picture deal with Marvel, and Edward Norton formally stepped away from the role of Bruce Banner. In June of that year, Chris Hemsworth and Tom Hiddleston signed on as Thor and Loki, and all these people would be appearing in movies before Avengers. Jon Favreau was attached as producer, not director, and Zach Penn was working on a script. In 2010, Joss Whedon was formally attached to direct. So Joss Whedon at this point was like kind of the it writer of the time. Like he had done Buffy, he had done Angel, he had done Firefly, he had done Dollhouse. Like he, especially like during the writer's strike, he did Dr. Horrible sing-along blog. So he was just like, he had this cult following at the end of this decade. So everyone was just excited what he was going to work on next. And of course he had this relationship with Marvel Comics as someone who had written the Cure storyline like a decade before. So when he was announced, a lot of people were just like, oh shit, like he's a TV director, but he had done Serenity, the Firefly movie. So like in Firefly and Serenity were just beloved. And I think people were just like ready for this. It felt like, okay, this is this is destined. This is like the perfect guy for the job. Whedon did not like Zach Penn's draft of the script, so he basically threw it out and started from scratch. And Joss Whedon and James Gunn are just these kind of like creatives who are just kind of workaholics and will just go crazy on a script. And they kind of just have brains who can make these kind of things all make sense. Mark Ruffalo, Jeremy Renner, and Clark Gregg were all added to the cast in 2010, and then the release date was pushed back to May of 2012. Principal photography began in April of 2011 in New Mexico before Thor or Captain America had their theatrical releases. It was a huge risk for Marvel because they didn't know how those movies were going to release, like if people were going to like those movies. Kevin Feige has a great quote about the stakes involved, saying, quote, "People forget that we started filming Avengers before either Thor or Captain America were released. What if people hated Thor? What if people thought Loki was ridiculous? What if people didn't buy this super soldier frozen in ice? We were in the first quarter of production on a giant movie at the time, and we weren't going to stop." It was sort of all in at that point. It is crazy to think about that.
They gambled, they pawned Black Panther and Doctor Strange. Like, I'm not surprised that they were like, let's also gamble making this big ass picture before the other ones come out. They were probably like, oh, worst comes to worst, we can redeem Thor with this movie.
Yes. That is kind of the story of Marvel Studios in the first half of their existence, is a series of high stakes gambles and high payouts. Like they put it all on black again and again and again. And then it just worked out for them. They doubled down.
It just worked out. That, I think that is perfectly also the definition of luck in their case. Because you cannot do that shit today. Also, why would you try that shit today? Why would you try that shit today? There is nobody that is going to finance a movie without any I need to see written out how I know I'm going to make my money back. Like, show me the receipts and taxes included. Like, there is no way they could have done that shit today. Also, to be fair, if they were working with Disney, like, before they weren't, but if they were today, Disney's like, no, we're not gambling on that. What the fuck's wrong with you? That's crazy as shit.
Now, this is the 16th episode of The Road to Doomsday, and we've talked about in 15 past episodes all these other movies. Most of them had Kevin Feige as a producer on them, and part of that risk was Kevin Feige factoring in his past experiences trying to produce movies and figuring it out kind of midway through production. Like Iron Man 2 reconfigured that entire movie with Jon Favreau. Joss Whedon had been in the midst of like productions producing TV shows and changing the storylines on a dime.
But
like
that shit ain't working today.
No, it does not work
working today. And I'm like, and I don't think that's on him. I just think like the way that television and movies have evolved, that shit doesn't work like that. You need time.
Where do you think? I guess we'll get to it later down on the road, but
when did that change?
When did that stop working?
It didn't stop for this, and this is 2012.
No. And I would say it continued to work for Civil War, worked for Infinity War and Endgame.
And that's the hard part, is like, because they only have those group movies in between. Like Doctor Strange doesn't have to suffer from this. But
I mean, Ant-Man arguably, because they fired Edgar Wright and replaced him with eventually
what phase was is he the beginning of the third? Who's the beginning of the third? Is that Doctor Strange?
Yeah, kind of. Doctor Strange is the start of phase 3.
And then Black Panther was right after?
It was like a year and a half after.
I wish we had that fucking graphic. That
and
was like
Iron Man or Black Panther did kind of figure out its final
Black
battle
Panther did
late.
fine. I think you're right what you're saying. What was the one that you chose? You said...
I think Multiverse of Madness is where it kind of stopped.
Yeah, it's very late, which is good on their point. Well, not good.
And Multiverse of Madness mostly worked overall, but it didn't work as well as these other movies did.
So, like, the tip of phase 4.
Yeah, it wasn't until phase 4, because I would say, like, it still worked really well in Endgame.
I mean, to be fair, you guys, that's very good numbers. Phase 4 was not that long ago, so...
Yeah.
How far are we into phase 5 right now?
I think we're in phase 6 now.
We're into... Oh my... I'm losing.
With Fantastic Four started phase 6.
We're done.
But they're not even using phases anymore.
They're not, especially... They only used it during... and we're in the 4th saga.
Yeah. But this is the movie. Avengers 2012 is when we started the phase nomenclature. Because in the movie, they say, are we ready for phase 2? And he goes, phase 2 is not ready.
Yeah. So 100... I think you're right. I think it was Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah. And you don't even, like most things in life, you don't really notice that it's not working until sometime after looking back.
Well afterwards, and then you start putting the pieces together and you're like, oh shit, wait a minute.
Oh yeah. Like they didn't learn that it, like Multiverse of Madness still did well enough. They didn't learn the right lessons.
Do you
from
think
that
it's
movie.
well, this is also a problem with, like, this is why I'm so happy the DC kind of universe got restarted, because they can just put it on paper right now, what they're saying and what they're doing. Marvel's been such a long streamed program that it's like, oh, So many hands have touched it. So many hurdles have been jumped. How do we even know if we're right anymore? I feel like it's really hard. And I will always play devil's advocate for that on Marvel. I'm like, dude, it's hard to follow your own Bible. What the hell? What do you mean? Like, that's why Multiverse of Madness was such a fucking wreck. Like, you put new hands in it in the middle of it, and then we're also trying to cater to the fan base, but this person doesn't even know where the character was last episode. Like, what are you talking about?
I do think that, like, Multiverse of Madness didn't have to be the harbinger of this whole experiment starting to go off the rails. I think what happened was, at the time of Multiverse of Madness, so many other Marvel streaming shows were coming out that just kind of created the fatigue around these titles, so it wasn't as impressive when a movie came out. It's kind of like, wait, okay, so how this movie, the interconnectivity of the MCU is not as impressive in Multiverse of Madness if Doctor Strange just kind of brushes the events of WandaVision under the rug.
Yeah, and WandaVision was like such a success.
It meant so much to all of us.
And same with Loki too. It's like, if you're going to put Loki in a big movie, it has to have a bigger purpose to me than Loki season 2 did. And that's how do you ground yourself after Loki season 2?
You have to prove to me that the filmmakers watched every episode of that show and care about it as much as we do.
I think it's too hard for that.
Yeah.
Even for me, and I'm just speaking on terms where I'm like, that is so hard to be like a writer that's like, oh, I also want to give this to people that are new, but there's so much math and you have to. That's insane. That's insane to not have to go watch everything Doctor Strange and Wanda have been in if you're going to make a centered movie around those two.
Yeah.
So devil's advocate, it is very hard. But I do think you are right when you say Multiverse of Madness is where it started.
Yeah. Maybe our feelings will change as we continue to revisit more of these movies, but
just like they were with Blade and fucking every movie that we talked about already, they learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
They learn from their mistakes. I think going the X-Men and Mutant Saga will help a lot. Just going one storyline.
Yeah.
Just one. Mutants only. I don't give up. I do not care. Do not put me out into a new universe. Just give me the mutants.
Yeah, I know.
If I'm almost halfway about this with Doctor Strange's newest movie. I'm like, I do want to see where he is between that and Secret Wars, but if it disrupts the saga that we're getting into, don't give it to me.
Yep.
Don't make it harder for yourselves.
As this movie's coming out, in a May 2012 interview, Joss Whedon revealed that it was his decision to include Thanos in the post-credit scene of the movie, even though the character's not identified in the film. We all know it's Thanos by looking at him. Saying, quote, "He, for me, is the most powerful and fascinating Marvel villain. He's the great granddaddy of the badasses. Somebody had to be in control and had to be behind Loki's work." And I was like, it's got to be Thanos. And they said, okay. And I'm like, oh my God. So the film's world premiere took place on April 11th, 2012 at Hollywood's El Capitan Theater and was released in the US on May 4th. What's interesting is after that world premiere is when they shot the shawarma scene. So they shot the post-credit scene in between the world premiere and the public release, and that's why Chris Evans has to have his hand over his chin when he's sitting at the table. It's because he started to grow a beard for Snowpiercer that he was shooting with Bong Joon-ho. So The Avengers was a worldwide total. This is what the box office is. We'll get to the box office challenge in a bit, but just so we know, because this is history, $1.519 billion worldwide. It broke every record. It was the third highest grossing film of all time at the time. I think it did not beat Avatar. And it did not beat Titanic yet. It was the highest grossing film of 2012, the highest grossing comic book adaptation of all time, the highest grossing superhero film, and the highest grossing film ever released by Walt Disney Studios at the time of its release. So it was budgeted for $200 to $225 million.
That doesn't mean shit with that $1.5 billion coming back. I don't even care.
Audiences loved it. Critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it 91%. Cinema score A+. Audiences were thrilled.
How much did it make that opening? I want to know how much it made that first month, because they had to have made their money back that first fucking month.
Oh yeah, it probably did really, really well. We'll get to the box office challenge at the end. But before we get into it, let's talk about specific things from this movie that we think could get echoed in Doomsday. I mentioned the conversation between Loki and Tony Stark in the penthouse. Knowing that Downey and Hiddleston are going to be probably in a scene together in Doomsday, maybe at the base of the Yggdrasil time tree. I feel like there's certain things about that are going to come back specifically in Doomsday.
I can see that.
Are there other scenes in this movie?
That's the hard part about this movie, is that it's been featured even in What If a million times. So it's like they even took moments that we didn't see with Kate Bishop. Like, it's like they took every corner of this. We revisit a lot of Thor Loki and Hulk in Thor Ragnarok. So I think a lot of, if there's any interactions there, that might come back up, but we already witnessed it during Thor Ragnarok. Nick Fury and Doomsday.
I don't know if he's not on the cast list yet.
He has not been in anything. He's not been doing news things or talking, period. So I don't know.
I don't know if he's going to be in Doomsday. I think there's maybe some reference to the adopted line about Thor and Loki being adopted. I think the everything great about you came out of a bottle, the billionaire playboy genius philanthropist line could come back.
Line could come back.
I think more so Avengers Doomsday is going to be a direct sequel to Avengers Endgame more than something that kind of pays off things from throughout all the Avengers movies, because Endgame already was that. Endgame already had a ton of callbacks to this movie.
Yeah, this movie.
So does Doomsday need to have a lot of callbacks to this movie? No. But there's probably a few things.
But lines make sense. Lines are different than situations of like guiding Loki through being arrested, like those, anything that's like a line, like even him being like puny god, like that could be something revisited in Doomsday. Do we know, and this is me being ignorant, do we know if Smart Hulk Bruce Banner remembers everything that Hulk did during the Battle of New York, correct?
Smart Hulk, that's a good question. It's hard to know because in Thor Ragnarok the rule is that when Hulk is in charge, Banner has a memory blackout and vice versa. So,
but we don't know about Smart Hulk because we haven't spent enough time with him to like even know that, right?
He says, I merged the brains with the brawn. And the brains that he merged was Banner's brain, not Hulk's brain.
Yeah, because
but I don't know. My read of it was there's certain things that Hulk did that Banner only has memories of because he would watch recordings of it after the fact.
Okay. Because I'm like, there's what if he did say like puny god again because he just forgot that he said it before? He's like, this is a weak ass god if he's talking about Doom instead of Loki this time. Yeah. And then unfortunately Natasha's dead, so she ain't coming back.
No, she's not coming back.
Jeremy Renner isn't coming back. No,
we don't think so.
That we know of. Yeah. I think just like those little lines. I'm trying to think of like more specific lines, and genuinely even the characters like Maria Hill, Coulson, they're dead. Fury's up in space. He's up at Saber. And I don't think they want to remind us that the Skrulls even exist. I genuinely don't. Because that's what he would have to bring to the table is talking about Skrull shit, and no one wants to hear it. No one wants to hear it. Could you imagine your career as this at the beginning, and then now you're like, I don't want to fucking hear it.
Yeah.
I don't care what alien you're talking to. Yeah. I wonder if there's any situations that we can learn of that were like Kate Bishop's that were just never included.
Oh, like other little things.
Because we know that Daredevil's there, right?
Matt Murdock
they talk
would have
about
been
it
there.
in the Netflix series.
He wasn't. I don't know if he was suiting up as the Devil of Hell's Kitchen as far back as 2012.
And they could retcon it, I guess. They could say it. They could change it.
But Kingpin was around.
Oh yeah, If we see pre Hawkeye series, Kingpin like starting taking
there
all
were
those
flashbacks in Hawkeye,
taking all those things
in Hawkeye episodes from 2007.
Yeah, we could see
where he was in charge of the tracksuit mafia.
If he's in Doomsday,
I don't think.
I don't think he's in Doomsday either.
I think Avengers Endgame did kind of juice 2012 Avengers as much as possible to get all the member berries out of it. But
member berries.
What Avengers 2012 did do is establish a blueprint that every Avengers movie or major crossover event produced by Marvel Studios, Marvel fans will expect. And that includes a huge scale movie with a ton of sequences. It's not just like character moments. It's like major action sequences leading into other major action sequences. And I think like Doomsday is gonna do that.
Yeah, it has to do that. That'd be crazy if they disrupt it. If they were like, there's no battle. In fact, then why did I pay to see this damn movie? Why did I pay to see this damn movie? I'm seeing Doom and he's fucking up the mutants. I need to go see it.
Yep. All right. Let's get into the box office challenge of this movie. A note on the past few episodes. A lot of you were reaching out to me saying, hey, the box office numbers you're saying for the opening weekend are really low. That was our mistake. I was saying the opening day box office numbers, but I kept accidentally saying it was the opening weekend. So a lot of these movies did high 5 figures, if not 6 figures for their opening weekends, not like 25 million.
You guys are listening, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you for checking up on us.
That's not even a note. That's just a look at you guys go.
We're going to correct it from here forward, especially with this movie, because the box office of this movie was insane. Okay, so this movie premiered on May 4th, 2012.
We're still all in school, by the way. Majority of us.
I was now working.
No, I meant like it's not summertime yet. It's spring.
Okay.
Springish?
Yeah, it's spring going into summer.
So it's early.
Yeah, so nothing else is really competing with Avengers.
Okay.
Its opening weekend made. Do you want to guess how much it made in its opening weekend?
It's opening. I want to. No, that'd be insane, right? If it made 200 opening weekend.
Domestic, just domestic.
Oh, domestic. Well, no. It could make something crazy like one. I'm low. Tell me what it is.
It made $207 million. $207 million domestic. That's US and Canada.
Could you imagine being this is what I think about all the time. This is my freak brain. How like a musician, like every time Sabrina Carpenter or Beyonce create an album, they can just coast off that album for a long time because it's so successful. To be the people working at Marvel after this weekend, they're like, I should go on a vacation.
Yep.
I can leave for 6 months if I wanted to. Oh, you made your money back domestically on a weekend.
Yep. And that kind of set the standards for a lot of these movies throughout the decade.
I will say the reward at the time, oh my God, the headache of today. Because now everybody's chasing that white whale. And the thing is, people aren't going to the movies like they were in 2012. I'm not trying to say that superhero fatigue doesn't exist. I'm just saying like those numbers are a lot different back in the day than they are today.
Number 2 at the box office was a rom-com that made.
Hitch. No, I'm joking.
Nope.
That was.
It made only $8 million this weekend.
May 2012.
It came out like 2 weeks before this, and it was directed by another Marvel director from the Fox era.
Bryan Singer?
No. It was. Let's see who starred in it. It starred.
Who's the director? Just tell me who the
Michael
director.
Early, Megan Good, Regina Hall, Kevin Hart, Taraji P. Henson.
Oh,
Terrence J. Gabrielle Union.
Yes. I didn't see this fucking movie. What was it called again?
Think Like a Man.
Think Like a Man. Yeah.
Directed by Tim Story, director of the Fantastic Four movies.
Sometimes I feel like you guys get bored and you're like, let me go do a black movie.
I didn't just throw this in.
Not
This
you,
is number 2.
not you, but it's like, I feel the same way about Steven Spielberg. He went, I should do The Color Purple.
They released it May 20th, and then it had been in theaters. It actually didn't do that bad. It made
No, it was a popular movie.
Yeah, it made $96 million on just a $12 million budget. That's a better return on investment than Marvel Studios.
It came out 2 weeks before this movie. You said?
Yeah, it came out 2 weeks before Avengers.
I was about to say, why would they put that movie out the same week as Avengers?
Oh no! All these movies that I'm about to mention did not come out the same weekend.
Yeah.
No one opened against Avengers.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. A lot of these. This is a fun one because I'm sure everyone was like July.
Yep. All right. Number 3 at the box office was a very, very successful literary IP franchise. The first of this franchise. It made $5.6 million. It had come out in April. It was a Lionsgate movie. Very popular YA dystopian.
We're not talking about Divergent?
No, it's
we're not talking
one before
Maze Runner? That's not
the one
true.
that made those franchises popular.
We're not talking about just Hunger Games.
Yes.
Oh, okay, my bad. I was gonna say Hunger Games first, but when you said dystopian, I immediately went Divergent.
Yeah. Hunger Games did really well. It made $5.6 million this weekend. There were some kids who were like, you know what, I'm gonna see Avengers and then I'm gonna see Hunger Games on Sunday because I haven't seen it yet. Did really well this year. Okay, the 4th movie.
Was this the first Hunger Games?
Yeah, it was the
Came
first
out
one.
when I was a senior?
Yeah.
I was reading those books in high school though, so that makes sense.
All right, the number 4 movie at the box office was an animated movie I did not know existed. It came out in March and it was still in theaters. So this is a movie that the babies were going to. It made $5.5 million. It's just so funny to think what else could you see in movie theaters other than Avengers
Who's the
that
voice
weekend.
actors?
Let's see. I did not know this movie existed, so you'll have to give me a second. Hugh Grant, Salma Hayek, Jeremy Piven, Martin Freeman, David Tennant, Imelda Staunton.
David Tennant and Salma Hayek. It's a child movie?
Yeah.
Selma Hayek and David
I don't know
Tennant.
if all these people were. Yeah, you know, no, this is it. It's The Pirates, Band of Misfits.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, you didn't see this animated movie with Hugh
I
Jackman
said
as a pirate?
David Tennant and Selma Hayek.
Yeah, there was a lot of big names voicing
There
characters.
is.
This.
I also don't know. I shouldn't have asked you because this was around the time where they just started putting like Jack Black. they were just putting like famous actors as voice actors. I was like, oh, I'll know who this is once you say John DiMaggio.
Again, like we're talking about Avengers weekend. No one else has seen anything else. The fact that
really
these movies
hard.
made any money is incredible.
I was about to say Boston.
So number 5 is a Nicholas Sparks romantic drama that came out in April, starring Zac Efron.
Oh,
Taylor Schilling.
yes, I saw this movie in theaters.
You did?
Frick, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, bitch. I was a senior.
I did not see it.
I was a senior, and it was Zac Efron. Fuck, dude. What was this? What was it called?
The Lucky One.
The Lucky One. Oh, it's not good too. It's not good. What's that review? What's that review at? I'm sure that Rotten Tomatoes is rotten.
20%.
That's too high.
Rotten Tomatoes.
That's
did not like
way
this
too
movie.
high. That's way.
It still did pretty well. It almost made $100 million for a movie like that.
We
Pretty
were
good.
loving romance movies.
Yeah.
We were loving romance.
Okay, so now we're going to talk about some huge numbers here. Talking about the 2012 worldwide box office for the full year. For the full year of 2012,
Okay.
it was a massive year at the
And
box
it's
office.
worldwide?
Yes. So we already talked about how Avengers was the highest grossing movie worldwide. It had made $1.5 billion.
Easy.
Broke records as the third highest grossing movie of all time. No other movie that came out in 2012 crossed that number. But what was the number 2 movie at the worldwide box office?
This is hard because keep in mind, you guys, I'm always going by what age I was and what movies I was seeing with my friends. 2012, I was a senior. I was having a hard time. You know, I was about to graduate, so I wasn't really seeing movies. But I do remember all the movies just being very American. And so worldwide, they're probably not going to be that popular.
This one is not an American hero, number 2. It is a worldwide kind of jet-setting global movie, a huge franchise, major franchise. This was technically, well, depends on where you start counting. It's either like the 20-somethingth movie or the third movie of this iteration of the character.
Yeah, I'm going to need you to give it to me. I'm confused.
All right, Daniel Craig.
This
is the
James
end.
Bond. It's Skyfall?
Yes,
Skyfall?
it is.
Yeah, I
It
saw
is.
and I saw Skyfall. Damn it. I went on a date to Skyfall.
Skyfall. Oh, how'd it go? All right, number
I had a good time. I don't think he liked me.
but hopefully you both like the movie.
Yeah, I like the movie.
Movie's great. It was number 2 at the worldwide box office, $1.1 billion.
Yeah, Skyfall. Well, those movies were making money.
I think it was the highest grossing the highest grossing James Bond movie in general was Skyfall.
Was it Skyfall?
Yeah.
I just liked Skyfall because also that song.
Such a good song.
Such a good
Oscar-winning
song, dude.
All right, number 3 at the worldwide box office also made $1.1 billion, just like slightly less than number 2. Huge franchise during this era.
Harry Potter's done by now.
Harry Potter was done. Harry Potter ended the year before.
Is this Twilight? No, Twilight might be done too.
No, not Twilight.
Keep going.
Warner Brothers.
No, it's not Batman.
It is.
It's not The Dark Knight. It's the second one.
It's the third one.
It's the third one?
Dark Knight Rises. So
the third one
when
came
Batman
out in
Begins,
2012?
Yeah, Batman Begins was 2005, Dark Knight 2008, and then Dark Knight Rises was 2012. It made $1.1 billion. Did not outperform the Heath Ledger Dark Knight predecessor.
No.
Many believe that the reason it didn't was because of the Aurora shooting that happened that opening weekend.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
But even
I would
despite
be
that,
terrified.
it still went on to make $1.1 billion.
I'm sure people watched it. I don't think I went to theaters to see it.
I did. But I saw it opening night Thursday. The shooting happened on Friday, I think.
I'm still scared.
Yeah.
I would still be scared. I did not.
Also,
the first one was better.
Burn made $1.1 billion.
I was born in it.
Yeah, I was born.
Molded
I didn't
by
see
it.
the darkness until I was a man.
He was
By then
fucking
it was blinding.
I love it.
The movie
I'm sorry. It's not that great.
It might be the most unhinged movie Christopher Nolan has ever made, and I'm including Tenet in that. The difference is, though, it's still like
It's
Tenet,
so great.
super iconic.
It's
like,
so iconic.
insane.
I hated that Catwoman, but I still had fun.
She's
I
still
was still
great.
like, oh, she's backflipping out the window after she kicked that when she kicked the cane out.
When Marion
I said-
Cotillard goes and dies that way, it's so deliberate and
so
weird.
good, dude. I'm sorry. And the lines. I should go read that stupid looking script.
Yeah. All right, number 4 at the worldwide box office. Another huge franchise that a lot of people just forget happened. It made $1 billion.
It made a bill. What were we doing in 2012?
It was the first of like this kind of spin-off franchise from Warner Brothers as well.
Is it scary?
No, it's kind of high fantasy.
Oh, this is The Hobbit?
Correct.
Yeah.
Hobbit was number 4. It made $1 billion.
This isn't the first one.
It is the first one. Hobbit: Unexpected Journey.
I'm not knowing time works. The first Hobbit came out in 2012?
Yeah. You have Hobbit: Unexpected Journey 2012. Then you had Desolation of Smog. You had the
I thought the first one came out in like 2008.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm losing time. I'm losing concepts.
They split that into 3 movies when it's by itself shorter than any one of the volumes of Lord of the Rings. But it's because they made $1 billion.
People are still eating it up.
Yep. All right, and then number 5 was the only animated movie in the top 5 in 2012. So 2012 was the year, I believe, of Brave. Brave didn't break into the top 5.
Oh, I love Brave.
We were before Wreck-It Ralph or Frozen, if I remember correctly.
Frozen came out in like 2014?
Yeah, Frozen was 2014. Wreck-It Ralph was 2013, I think. So this one is like a different, very popular animated franchise.
Rapunzel came out in 2011?
Yeah, this one's not Disney.
Oh, it's not Disney. Sorry. It's not one. It's the first of its kind, or is this
No, it's like the 4th, I believe.
And this is what pisses me off.
It's the 4th installment of the series.
Okay, so it's not. No. Is it How to Train Your Dragon?
We're not.
Damn. Because the first one came out in 2009. I thought they were starting to do one a year.
This one's got Ray Romano.
You do, and the thing is, you do this every single fucking time.
Because I just want to say Ray Romano.
Ice Age.
It's Ice Age Continental Drift. Made $877 million.
That franchise, I don't know how it went on that long, but they marketed it so well with spinoffs, merch, everything. It went on forever. I get merch for other things. I don't understand the merch for like Ice Age. Like I guess like Saber-Tooth Tigers are like, oh yeah, but I was like, nah, I don't understand how that franchise lasted that long. I saw the first one when I was a kid, a child. And it went on for like 2 decades. Insane. Insane. And you guys talk about Polar Express having ugly animation.
Okay, so one final kind of trivia query I'll throw at you. So at $1.5 something billion, The Avengers was at the time the 3rd highest grossing movie of all time. It did not beat Avatar or Titanic. However, 3 years later, it would be surpassed by what other Disney film? In terms of hype.
I know this. Oh, and hype?
In terms of box office.
Money. Oh, I know this. Because it's a fun fact. It's a fun fact and I know this. Me. Oh, fuck. What is it? It's not, I keep wanting to say Pirates, but it's not Pirates. No. What is it? Tell me what it is.
It is Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Actually, I didn't know
Made $2.1 billion worldwide. Yeah.
Ooh.
And then future movies, Infinity War and Endgame would surpass the first
Force
Avengers.
Awakens didn't come out until like 2014?
2015.
2015? And it still was making, well,
all these movies were making in the billions.
The Force Awakens, 2 point, ooh-wee.
Spider-Man No Way Home would also surpass Avengers, but Avengers, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, remains in the top 10 highest grossing, or at least the top
It could
15.
also be by speed.
The fastest to get to $1 billion?
Yeah, the fastest to get to $1 billion. Well, do we know which one is? Do you think
that's a good question? I think
Deadpool and Wolverine?
No,
they got there really fast. I thought
until the end of the summer.
Did they beat?
I think the fastest to $1 billion might have been either The Force Awakens or
it's probably Force Awakens
or like Endgame. I think Endgame might have been the fastest to $1 billion.
Endgame too.
Because it made $1 billion in like a week.
Yeah, because I remember when Barbie came out, it was still taking forever. Yeah. It took forever. Oh my God, it took forever.
But it did get there.
It did get there, but it took forever. And that's the strength of Barbie and Mattel.
And then Morbius, I think, took...
the fastest to bomb.
I think Morbius only took like 36 hours to get $1 billion.
That's crazy. That's crazy. And I knew you liked that movie and you were just fronting.
I have tattoos all over my body.
You kept saying, you always like make a front, you guys. He's always talking shit about that and Madam Web. And then he genuinely loves those movies.
I kind of do. I love that they exist. I'll say that. So much so that we're doing a live stage reading of Morbius at the UCB Theater on April 17th. Ticket link in the description. You don't have to be in LA to watch it. You can watch it wherever. It'll be a lot of fun. Hey, this has been a really fun revisitation of Avengers 2012.
Dude,
I love this movie.
Easy. It's hard to talk about movies that are great on this podcast because it's like, yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, what else is there
What
to
is
say?
it they're saying? It's very easy for us to talk about movies that we're like, here's the notes.
Yeah, we have some thoughts.
Here's some notes.
A special thanks to one of our In Our Underground subscribers, Bro, for supporting us at the executive producer level. You can get all of our exclusive bonus content by clicking the link in the description below or going to inourunderground.supercast.com. That includes early ad-free audio versions of this show, The Road to Doomsday. And if you'd like to support us by buying some merch, head on over to nerdriot.shop. I got this Nelson Murdoch and Paige Daredevil-inspired design. Grabbing one of these shirts is just a great way to support what we're doing here. There's also a ton of great Doomsday-inspired designs. Cyclops, Open Your Eyes, New Mask, Same Task. A lot of great shirts there. Thanks so much to Brian Kim for producing this episode, for Berg researching this episode. Jess, it's been wonderful to discuss with you. Thanks to Jessica Clemons. Follow Jess at Lulu_Clemons. You can follow me at EA Voss. And thanks to Joshua, Stephen Hurd, and Abby Friel for all the editing work they do here at New Rockstars. Thanks to Erik Gorday for editing this episode of The Road to Doomsday. You can follow all the channels that New Rockstars is on social media. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everybody.